Okay, are we ready? Are we live?
Can
Yes?
you give us a countdown? Oh.
I guess we're live. Okay, good evening. It's Tuesday, January 27th. It is 7:05 p.m., and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Can everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? The flag is to my right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First item on the agenda, B1, is an anticipated adjournment to the executive session. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we adjourn to executive session to discuss information relating to proposed pending or current litigation, the employment history of particular persons, personnel matters under employee records, and matters deemed confidential by state or federal law, including seeking advice from counsel.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. It's now 7:06. We are going into the executive session. We are expected out at 8 p.m. Thank you. We are back in public session. It's 8:15 p.m. We are back in public session, and the first item on the agenda is C1, student voice, student public comment. Every regular meeting of the Board of Education, we have students come and tell us about their experience. We usually have one student from R.J. Bailey and one student from Woodlands Middle High School. Tonight, we have one student from R.J. Bailey, and his name is Gen. Gen, are you here? Please come up. Please come up to the mic and the podium. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gen Narumi, and I'm a 6th grade student at R.J. Bailey. Tonight I will be sharing with you about my past experience in the district and several ideas on how to make possible enhancement to our future education. After transitioning from the Waldorf School in Brooklyn, I entered the Greenburgh district in 4th grade. There are several experiences that have impacted me most along the way. Specifically, as a learner who enjoys project-based learning, I value the time spent planning, researching, creating, and collaborating around various topics. For example, I extremely enjoyed when we started to learn about the ancient Egypt because I was given the opportunity to select how I was going to present my topic of interest. In my ELA class, I look forward to our book club sessions, a time when we choose the books we read, have authentic discussions with our peers, and direct our own path of learning. In addition, trips that students partake in continue to make lasting impressions in our lives. My personal favorite has been the annual visit to the Greenburgh Nature Center, where students learn how to preserve the beauty of our planet. Moreover, students are able to interact with foreign animals and plants. Finally, the importance of social-emotional learning comes to mind when thinking about the district's goals. Particularly, each week, I'm eager to attend the physical education and home and careers class because there we work on strengthening ourselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. As I reflect on ways we can make possible changes and improvements, there are a few areas that come to mind. First, there should be additional classes that teach the students how to live an improved quality of life. For example, classes can teach students about financial literacy, about the essential need for healthier nutrition, and about the importance of limiting screen time usage. This is because student studies have shown that if a child spends too much time on an electronic device, it can have negative impacts on the brain's most crucial parts, such as the area where it controls your emotions, memories, and vocabularies. Additionally, the selection of what you consume can directly affect your energy, well-being, mental health, and physical health. Moreover, this school can provide more nutrient-filled meals to students to allow them to grow healthier while in school. Also, I noticed that the time spent on beauty of art and developing creativity and imagination was significantly less in this district than the Waldorf school. So these topics should be more of a priority in our curriculum. Therefore, students should be permitted more time to spend outdoors during school time, especially on snow and rain days, which will enable us to take risks and learn from our mistakes. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my perspective. The Greenburgh Central School District is a community that I am grateful to be part of.
Thank you, Gen. And I heard you say, we have to open it up to see if any trustees would like to talk to you. So I heard you say you wanted more outdoor time.
Yes.
Wonderful. Is there a particular game or something you like to play outdoors?
Not really, but
Just hanging out outdoors? Okay. Does any other trustees have any questions or anything for Gen?
Could we get a copy of that speech?
Oh, can we get a copy of your speech, Gen?
yes.
Okay, great.
You're gonna send it to us? Okay. Any other questions or anything? Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you came from Brooklyn to join us.
Thank you.
And we hope to retain you through 12th grade. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any public comments? Okay, any introduction of new hires? What? No? Okay. And next we have our R.J. Bailey Elementary School presentation. Is it gonna be on the big screen? Yes. Okay, we're gonna go down to the audience. Thank you.
Don't say that. Oh, this is gonna turn on. All right. I know, I better be quiet.
Sorry.
Good evening. Welcome to R.J. Bailey. Thank you for taking the time to join us tonight and hear some of our successes that we have had thus far, although there are many, many more to come, as was very evident in the student that presented this evening.
Our vision, mission, model, and tagline, our vision. We will be a high-performing school district that educates all students to interact intellectually, socially, and emotionally as global citizens.
The mission, the goal of the district is to provide a model learning center where students will grow from one stage to another and to develop those skills and talents which permit the individual to succeed in the pursuit of his or her goals and ambitions in an ever-changing society.
And the motto, our children, our focus, our future, and tagline,
Soaring together for a greater Greenburgh. So you've probably seen these with our colleagues in previous months, and thank you to Dr. Chisholm and Dr. Njoku when we met in August. The goal there was to have everybody on the same page, so we all have the same vision, mission, and goal for all of our students pre-K to 12.
so just thinking about some of the goals, we're definitely focusing in on student success, the infrastructure, premier workforce, safe and health, climate and culture, and of course, communications.
And these 5 goals were actually under the 4 pillars of SOAR, student success, operational excellence, attracting and retaining talent, and responsive relationships.
Our SOAR pillars, the 2025-2026 school year reinforces our vision, affirms our shared purpose, and unites our collective efforts around the district's SOAR pillars. Each pillar directly aligns with the 2022 to 2027 strategic goals, ensuring that our work is focused, coordinated, and driven by a common commitment to student success and organizational excellence.
Our goal for student success starts on the SMARTY goal that states, by June 2026, teachers at Richard J. Bailey will strengthen instructional practices through the use of data-driven instruction and the facilitation of productive student discourse. So there's a lot here that we're going to go through. One of the end-of-the-year targets that we have is to really increase our attendance percentage to 95%. And how are we going to do that? Ms. Khan meets with our social worker twice a month, and we are reviewing the data reports, and we are actually not only sending them home, we're reaching out to the parents, and especially reviewing with parents what is excused as opposed to unexcused absences. One of the challenges is that a lot of families are going on vacation when the students are not on vacation as per the school calendar. So we're really working on getting the families to understand that we need the kids here as often as possible. But so these bi-weekly meetings have really strengthened the communication in getting that message across. We're also going to increase the percentage of typical median growth on iReady. Now, iReady has 2 goals. There's the median goal, which is if I'm a 5th grade student, and let's say I am on a 4th grade level as per the iReady diagnostic test, by the end of the year, I should move up a year, so I'm now performing on a 5th grade, although I'm a 6th grade. So that's all great, at least the student is progressing. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to really make the gap smaller. So as I'm getting to 6th grade, I want to get as close to the 6th grade as possible. And our goal for there is for 30% of the students to meet their stretch growth, which will mean that they're getting closer to grade level year by year. And we're inching away little by little. So how are we going to do that? We administer several exams. One of the exams is iReady. There's a beginning of year, middle of year, end of year. And once the students are assessed on that, it is adaptive. So it places the students on a certain level and develops a learning path for them. Teachers then look at those learning paths, and they can adjust it to assign lessons that may, again, push the students harder, or assign lessons, certain skills that the student may be missing so that it can project them forward. And we review that data. We review the data every time the assessment is given. To the right there are 2 charts. These charts are sent to our staff every Friday, and it's just basic information. It allows teachers to know, and we actually announce it on the loudspeaker, and we let students know that what the percentage of students meeting their minutes. So our goal is 45 minutes on reading, 45 minutes mathematics for the week. And the way that we do that is we ask teachers to just allot 10 minutes during a small group instruction per day, and they can reach that. And so what this chart tells the students is students and teachers, not only did you meet the minutes, but then we kind of added on a layer at around November. We said, okay, this is awesome. You're on enough. We know that you're exposed to it, but now we can do better. So let's see the percentage of the lessons that you can pass. There aren't a certain number of lessons that a student has to get to each week. It's basically because it's individualized, it can depend upon their learning path. But it'll just give them a pass. If I had 2 lessons and Ms. Khan had 5 lessons, it just gives us the percentage passed. And then the teachers are then taking that data and sharing it with students individual and saying, this is what you have. 90% of your lessons were passed in math. Next week, like a video game, let's see if you can get 91%. This is just you trying to outdo yourself from the previous week. And so we see that the kids take pride because it's always nice to hear when you're doing well, and they can actually see, and they can monitor themselves as well. And that's the intermittent progress. So we're not waiting till the 3 times a week because it's already 3 months have gone by, and we want to make sure that we're on top of the learning as much as we can. And then all of this data is shared in several ways. It's shared through PLC meetings. Each grade level has the same prep, so they meet once a week, twice a week to discuss data, discuss unit plans, and share strategies with one another. Ms. Khan and I also, we stole an idea from Mr. Smith. He had Teacher Tuesdays in which he invites his teachers to come to his office. So we said, what a great idea, we're gonna call it Team Tuesday. And this is where we will, during one of the preps, we'll meet each grade level because they all have the same prep, and the topics change from week to week. It could either be something that we see a need for or something the teachers need a need for. And some of those topics, they're not always academic. Sometimes, the last one that we had was, you know what? We had a 2-week vacation, the weather is cold, we need a reset, we need to revisit our routines, have the students think about, you know, what are we gonna do from now until June? And so that was very productive, and just again, reminding the students of some of the expectations and how we're gonna get through a successful day. We also have TWR coaching, so we've done a lot with TWR and ELA and social studies, and with science as well. And we just felt that because we switched over to team teaching, we had a lot of teachers who hadn't taught science in the past and now teaching. So we're trying to strengthen their skill set so that they can work together. And Ms. DeAndrea actually had some coaching sessions that she set up with TWR, and they've assigned some videos. So the teachers will sit together, we'll create a schedule for them, and they'll watch and learn and create activities for it. So the TWR is not a writing program, but what it does is there are activities that the teachers can use to enhance whatever units they're teaching the students. If it's Native Americans, it'll be a TWR activity that is embedded within that unit. We've also had a lot with walkthroughs. I think last week we counted a little over 24 walkthroughs that we did, and it's just, you know, just seeing how we could support. We let the teachers know that we're there for an outside view, and to just see what they need to support. Could be something as simple as, you know, what your bulletin boards may need. Hey, I noticed that there was some clutter over there. Maybe we could use a bookshelf here. You know, the learning target, I know exactly where your learning target is, but from my vantage point, it wasn't unclear, so maybe we could move it there. And again, it's just strictly support. And then we've had the privilege of going to other schools to meet with colleagues. So I visited Woodlands Middle High School with some of the teachers, and tomorrow Ms. Khan is going over with some of our teachers to Highview, and again, it's to see and share best practices.
Yes, so here's some of the fun stuff, right? So here are our students in action. We'll get to the affirmation books, but I just want to jump into science investigations so that we know that every year the New York State requires grades 3 to 8 to complete science investigations. And it's nice because the children are so looking forward to it because it's like a huge lab. But we want to make sure that our students understand and can follow through the scientific method. So with the science investigations for grade 6, we were on the unit of cells. So they did the investigation called It's Alive. They love looking through the microscopes. Grade 5, it was all about matter, and it was called What's in the Bag. They had to figure out what phase of matter the materials that they used was in, so that was really cool. And then the last investigation we did was with grade 4, which is called Light It Up, and that's all about energy. The children had a really good time with that. So another thing that we did do, we always have the SEL day, typically before a long vacation. And so one of the highlights was an affirmation book that was made by our students. And we definitely want you to take a look at this video.
So what this student did is create an affirmation book for himself, and he keeps it in his pocket. And he says that when he's not feeling good, as you heard the importance of SEL from Gen, he said when he's not feeling well, he just takes it out and he opens it. And for SEL Day, he actually asked one of our teachers if he can create a video showing his peers how to create the affirmation book. And as you can see, he didn't want any accolades for it. He just showed them how to do it by hand. And during one of the SEL activities, when the students visited the art room, that was played and they all made their own affirmation books. But he still carries this around with him daily. So these are some of the look-fors that we are doing through our walkthroughs, and the teachers really appreciated having some time to work together and say, I know I'm teaching this unit on area, but the focus today is that I'm going to find the area of a triangle by multiplying this way, or by using the formula, or by this. And each day it'll change, so it'll provide different strategies for the students, because you never know what strategy is going to stick with them. And the teachers are very appreciative. They're working together. Sometimes they have to adapt their learning target because maybe the lesson didn't go as well, and so they have to revisit, or maybe they felt that, you know what, the kids have it, I'm going to skip on to the next one. And so you'll see these in all of the rooms.
All right, so some of the other highlights that we've done this year is our reading initiative. So at the superintendent's conference in September, she shared a book with all staff called Kids Deserve It. And then she had the author come in and actually give a presentation. And what resonated the most to us was that the fact that the author just really wanted to emphasize the importance of reading and getting our kids back into books, getting off of those digital, all of our gadgets and getting into that book. So that what we did, we came back and we decided, how are we going to get our kids to love reading again? So in the morning, when the kids come in, they have to sit down and read. So Mrs. Rossi said, we'll turn these shelves, these beautiful bookshelves that we have that are in the hallways, just so that kids have access to a book. So we tell them, if you don't have a book, you should be reading your schedule, the homework from the night before, anything to get you back into reading. But it's just so important that the kids getting back into those textbooks, turning those pages, understanding the text-to-text connections, the text-to-self connections will really improve their comprehension. So they really have fun with it. This is before school. We have kids in the classrooms. They're going back into the classroom at the end of the day when we're getting ready for dismissal. The kids are just taking out a book, and just a natural occurrence happening is just getting back into reading. I love the picture up there with the kids in the library where they're just sharing something really juicy about that book.
Thank you. One of the other ways that we're monitoring student success is, one of the targets is not only student discourse, not just being able to share what's on your mind, but being productive student discourse. So actually it involves listening skills, so I can hear what my friend is saying, listen to it, have a chance to digest it, and then give a rebuttal or an add-on. And this happens to be a video of a 5th grade math class that I just walked into. And the two students that you're going to see are talking about ways that they like to multiply. Do I want to use the standard algorithm, or do I want to use the area model? And I learned a lot about an area model, and I wish that I had learned it that way.
Okay, my favorite strategy is partial product because it's easier for me and at partial product. I didn't really understand but now I think. And
What is your favorite strategy? What is your favorite strategy?
At first I thought it was really hard, but now it's really easy for me, and it helps me multiply or divide. Okay.
She said you can enlarge the last one. The IB has also been an integral part of students learning, students being advocates of their own learning, and not just learning and regurgitating facts. We were able to capture a 4th grade and a 5th grade as they were in their IB unit. You're going to see a 4th grade launch, and the launch was, I believe, where we are in time and place. And so the students had several pictures that were put out for different groups. One was communication, one was the development of music, and light as well. And I can't tell you how many of them thought that the apps came first. It came before a lot, so it's pretty interesting. You could see Mrs. Riley in the center one, Luke, having a discussion with her students. You may have remembered some of us had these gadgets.
You see how you see how that's really nice. And so it made it easier because we used to use our thumbs like this. Look, we used to like this. This is how we did it. And then you press OK or send. See that it has send?
Why not?
I'm not sure why they had it like that. That's how we did. And then
Showed them a rotary. They asked us how we texted. We said we didn't. What? The video to the left, we also wanted to show you that one of the things for the International Baccalaureate does offer students opportunities to share what they're learning in different ways. And the reason I chose this particular video out of many, many others, this was a unit of how we organize ourselves. It was in November when voting was happening, and the 5th grade voted on whether or not they want a no homework pass or a free recess. So they campaigned and they came up, and this young man who's extremely shy to speak in public, he prepared something, but more importantly, he internalized it. And for him to get up and speak, not having anything in front of him, he's actually, from what I've learned from the instructor in the afternoon hip-hop, he's also a hip-hop superstar, dancer. He's incredible. But again, we know that with this young man, for him to succeed, we have to give him that platform. He is not going to be able to take a paper and pencil and show you what he knows, but you put him on the stage and he will light it up. So I just wanted you to see this young man.
Period for one day. I think we should vote for no homework. I think this because some students struggle with homework, and that can cause parents to get frustrated. If we choose no homework, we will get a break at night and then be able to play outside for extra time anyway. Vote no homework.
Want to take a guess on what won? You got it, recess. Extra recess. So the 5th grade teachers took them outside for an extra recess, and they were in their glory. But we wanted them to understand that if we're asking them to vote, that we wanted to follow up and say your vote won. So I think it was something where we weren't able to arrange it for the entire grade because the teachers wanted to have time to interact with their classes. So we broke it up in terms of teams, but they got their 45 minutes, and they saw that their vote counted.
Period for one day.
Can go to the next slide. Okay, next we'll talk a little bit about operational excellence. All right, so our goal is Richard J. Bailey will improve operational efficiency through accurate, transparent systems that supports interventions, evaluations, resource allocation, and budget monitoring, aligned to student learning and district priorities. So some of our targets for the end of the year, the multi-tiered student success, MTSS. We meet monthly and we discuss those to review and discuss the academic and behavioral and most importantly, social emotional instruction and interventions that support the whole child. Every month, once, I think it's on day 1, we get together as a team, the school psychologist, Mrs. Rossi, myself, and our social worker, and we discuss these students that came up in discussions with the different grade levels. For IB, we're having an evaluation in March coming up, so we're getting ready for that. But we're going to use that feedback from the evaluation just to really enhance and strengthen the learning environment for all the students, and also using that to improve instruction for the staff to really think about what will best educate that whole child. And of course, with our budget, we're going to be fiscally responsible, really thinking about the resources and the supplies that we need to help our students succeed. And really thinking about the systems that we have in place. So one of the systems that we use in terms of our curriculum is our at-a-glance document. And this document is created by the content area teachers to really think about where we are that's supporting the units of study and the content that we're giving to our students. So this is a live document, so whenever we need to make changes, the teachers can go in and do so based on, the instruction, based on the data that they do receive from that unit of study, and definitely student input, and they make those changes accordingly. Definitely our goal is to strengthen the instructional core. So when we're thinking about our Tier 1 instruction, if we're looking at the MTSS model for Tier 1, Tier 2 instruction, the Tier 1 instruction we want to improve within the classroom setting. Thinking about how that child works and their work that they've done for that lesson, and whatever data that is provided to that teacher, they use it to decide whether or not we're going to move that student up to Tier 2 and possibly Tier 3 instruction, all based on data.
One of the next pillars is the attracting top talent. Richard J. Bailey teachers will participate in continuous professional learning to enhance instructional practices and promote collaboration. Again, through TWR, through working with the coaches, our PLCL meetings, bringing back, turnkeying the information that we learned from the PLCLT monthly when we meet with central administration and our colleagues. Keeping top talent here and supporting them is our goal. And one of the things that we've come up with, especially since we transitioned to team teaching, was that we found that teachers are actually visiting one another. And Ms. Khan and I make their schedule so that they can visit one another based upon what they want to look for. So one teacher wanted to know, what does a small group instruction in science look like? And so that teacher was able to ask a teacher, when are you doing the small group? When can I come in? And then we'll make it happen and providing coverages. But the peer observations is key, and letting these teachers that we've hired, that we are supporting them, and letting the teachers that have been here for quite a while saying, you're our leaders, we're supporting you as well, but we're also looking towards your leadership.
All right, so here are some highlights of some of the work that we've been doing, our PLC meetings. We have teachers coming together, whether it's for peer observations, Team Tuesdays, training, or coaching support. And for our Pillar 4, responsive relationships, by June 2026, R.J. Bailey School will strengthen meaningful partnerships with families and the community to support student success. Some of our targets, we're going to meet regularly with the PTA, increase participation with regards to school-wide and district-wide events such as Principal's Coffee that we definitely have. We provide a weekly newsletter to all families. That's the best highlight of our week. And we celebrate student success with our honor roll assembly. So here's just some examples. That's our weekly newsletter. And this was our honor roll assembly for marking period 1. The children's responses to when their names were called for honor roll, and we kept it a secret. We didn't tell the parents if the child made honor roll or high honor roll. So when they came in and they realized, oh, they're high honor roll, they were so proud of themselves. It was really, really a wonderful event, and the parents were happy to be back into our building to celebrate these activities with our students in our auditorium.
That's all we have. Mr. Parker, is there a mic for questions?
Hello. Wonderful presentation. I got to see what the students are actually doing. I'm happy. Could you give me a little bit more about TWR? I don't think you ever told us what TWR is,
And then, you know, what sorts of things are you teaching the teachers? Because I think then it gets passed on to the students, right? So give me a little bit about that.
So the TWR stands for the Writing Revolution, and it's basically activities that teachers use to help build sentences, build paragraphs, and multi-paragraphs. So the students will, you know, the basic level will be, Mrs. Rossi is the principal. But if they're learning about a positives, they'll say, Mrs. Rossi, the principal has given us recess because we voted for it. So it's a matter of expanding sentences, it's sentence types, it's subordinating conjunctions. So it's adding on to their skill set so that they're writing better sentences and better paragraphs. And it is, I believe, a K through 10. I don't want to say program, but it's just a way of teaching students how to use these activities to enhance their writing and just enrich it. And they'll take that same activity. So if, as an ELA teacher, is teaching them a positives, for example, and now they are in social studies learning about Egypt, they will have to show their use of a positives when they're writing an open-ended response in social studies. You're welcome.
I have 2 questions. As I throw everything on the floor. Number 1 is if you have any percentage on your attendance as of now. So with 95% being your target. Sorry. The second question is, in Pillar 4, with increasing participation, what systems did you put in place to actually increase that?
Increasing
The
participation.
participation in district-wide and school, it's the previous, it's the Pillar 1, one more there. Increased participation with regards to school-wide and district-wide events, such as principal coffees. I know that's something that we struggle with parents and caretakers actually coming to events. So I'm
So,
just curious as to what you put in
Absolutely.
place.
For that, it was actually a suggestion of one of our parents, Ms. Mares, who said, can we offer a hybrid? So we offer a link so that parents and caretakers can join us from home or from work and be a part of the discussion. In terms of participating, our participation rate went up this year with dads coming to school. We had an increase, like having something like the honor roll assembly, because we're able to house more. And then what we did is we also did it per grade level. So we did not limit the number of seats, but we said 4th grade is at this time, 5th grade, and we allowed multiple members of that family. So it's activities like that that we're encouraging. I believe coming up is World Read Aloud Day.
Yes.
You know, encouraging parents to come to that. So that's how we're trying to get parents and community members involved. Once we get to the 6th grade exhibition, we also reach out and ask families for expertise in the areas that the students are studying so that they can come in. Mr. Parker, who's actually a parent in our school, he came in last year and he worked with one of our groups that was doing technology, but from there they decided to study film. And he brought drones over and showed them how film can be made using drones. So it's that type of participation where the expertise lies in our families. You know, Greenburgh is rich in many, many ways, and the more educators that we can get to help us instruct these students, the better. So educators are all of us who are professionals in the various fields.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does any other trustees have questions? Yes, Trustee Mann.
So I am going to echo what Trustee Warner said. It's nice to see the students in action, and you guys are making progress. I think that's wonderful. For the attendance, I don't think we got an answer for that one. So you want to increase attendance percentage to 95%. Where is it now? Because I may have missed it.
I don't have a number on me right now, but I can get that to you tomorrow.
Okay, all right. And then Smarty. So I know what a SMART goal is. I know what that stands for, but what's the IE part? If you can run us through it.
Can I defer to Dr. Njoku?
Smarty, the IE, I inclusive, E equitable.
Thank you.
Okay. And then, the honor roll. Okay. So how many students do we have in Bailey? And of that amount, how many made honor roll and how many made the high honor roll?
Do you bring the numbers with us? We have the numbers. Again, I'll get them back to you. I don't want to misquote myself, but it was a pretty high percentage, and what it's based on is only the core classes: science, social studies, math, and ELA.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's good. And there's one more, give me 1 second. I'm trying to understand my handwriting. One moment. Uh-oh. Maybe you might have to come back. Hold on, I'm trying to find it.
Do you know
Oh,
what
I know
pillar?
what it was. I got it. Okay, so with I ready. All right. So you said that the students are in class and they take about 10 minutes to do lessons and things like that. When they complete it here, do they still have to go home and do I ready homework, or is most of that done in school?
So in order to be equitable to all learners, we do not require that they do it at home because we do keep the Chromebooks here. So we ensure that they get the time here to meet that goal.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So no other questions, trustees? No? Okay, I had some questions. One was the attendance numbers, so I'll be looking forward to getting that from you guys. Next, you talked about the coaching with math and science. Do you guys ever have the middle school teachers come down and talk about their curriculum and talk to the teachers about how to, I guess, meet their standards so that when they go up to Woodland 7th grade that they're on standard with math and science?
So a lot of that work is done through our PLCLT meetings, where we as a district meet once a month at the high school. And then we take that learning and we turnkey it to each school with our PLCLT leaders from each building. And then also we do find ways to articulate. So Ms. Hernandez and I have gotten the math teachers together to go through it, but it isn't something that we have scheduled out, and I think, moving forward, it may be a good idea to do that. But PLCLT is pretty prominent with getting that message out.
Okay, great. And then I really love the reading initiative. I agree. I think kids really need to get just back to reading. I mean, everything, even us, as adults, we do a lot more audiobooks. We do a lot more visual stimulation, but really reading and seeing the text on print and reading across is really, I think, helpful for kids. So I'm happy that you guys are doing that. And that's a daily thing in the morning that the kids are doing? Okay.
Yeah, so some of the kids get more reading time in the morning, depending, like as they're walking in, they'll go straight to the cafeteria for breakfast, and then they're let up. And so some of the buses that come in later may get less time as they're waiting for first period to begin. But it is, the teachers are also allowing time for just independent reading time.
Okay, great. And I hope, it's a hope that I have, that we can do even more opportunities for the kids to do public speaking. I was so happy to see the young man talking about the homework, and I don't know how you could infuse it, but I feel like Woodlands does a really good job. By the time our kids are graduating, they're very confident in speaking, but I think having more opportunities at this age is helpful too. Okay, any other questions, comments? No? Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And the next item on our agenda is our budget presentation. Ms. Merrill, are you ready? Item C5, budget presentation. Go ahead. Okay. Oh.
Good evening. Thank you, Ms. Rossi, and thank you, Ms. Khan, for your presentation. All right, at this time, I will set us off to present the budget presentation with Assistant Superintendent Merrill. We want to start with, and always ground ourselves in our vision, mission, motto, and tagline, and we've already heard it, but we want to make sure that we always include this slide so that we remember what we're doing, as well as our SOAR. So the purpose of this meeting today is really to really ground us in a shared understanding around our current financial position for this school year, to talk about the factors and those constraints that help us shape our budget development process for the upcoming school year, and to really help us identify those known and unknown variables early in the budget cycle, especially as we're waiting for some projections to come out from the state and those other things. So we wanted to make sure that we are sharing that with the community. The work that we do, and especially our budget, will always support our strategic plan, as well as our vision and mission, and our 4 SOAR pillars. And so really how our budget supports, some examples of how our budget supports these things, is around the instructional staffing, intervention services, specifically for some of our most vulnerable learners, such as our students with disabilities, our L students, and those requiring some SEL supports, as well as curriculum resources. Operational excellence, our facilities, making sure our infrastructure is up to par. Transportation is huge. Technology and maintenance, all of those things. Thinking about how our budget will support competitive compensation, our negotiations, our faculty and staff salaries, professional learning, collective bargaining agreements. And then finally, those responsive relationships, student supports, again, right? The family engagement, how are we supporting families coming into the building, providing those opportunities, as well as our communication mechanism, and really trying to strengthen our reciprocal communication between home and school. So at this time, I am going to ask Ms. Merrill, our Assistant Superintendent for Business, to present more about the budget process. Ms. Merrill?
Thank you, Dr. Chisholm. Oops. Okay, this slide marks our transition into the data-heavy portion of the presentation, focusing on our current financial foundation. We present this information in both English and Spanish to ensure transparency and accessibility for our diverse community members. Understanding the 2025-2026 adopted budget is a critical first step because it serves as the baseline from which we build the upcoming 2026-2027 budget. Our total budget for the current year is $84,758,498. Instruction is our primary investment at $41,481,656, representing nearly half of our total spending. This covers the direct cost of educating students. Other major expenditures include employee benefits at $22,487,623, general support, $8,695,564, and pupil transportation, $8,107,944. We have allocated $600,000 specifically for the remaining water main project, utilizing partial excess funds from Phase 1 to ensure our facilities remain safe and functional. School district budgets are legally required to be broken down into 3 specific functional areas: program, capital, and administrative. Program, 79%. This is the heart of our spending. At 79% of the budget, it covers teacher salaries, classroom materials, and curriculum development, including student transportation. Capital, 13%. This covers the brick and mortar and the logistics of the district, including maintenance, custodial, utilities, and daily operations. Administrative at 8%. This is the smallest portion and supports the brain of the operation: district leadership, human resources, and central office functions that keep the district legally compliant and operational. As we look toward the 2026-2027 school year, we must manage a balance between knowns and unknowns. Known impacts: we are planning for a 2% CPI tax cap factor, an employee retirement system rate of 17.6%, which is increased from 16.9% current year, and updated assessment growth factors. We also have preliminary enrollment projections and projected state aid, which is an unknown. Unknown impacts: several high-stake variables remain outside of our control, including final state aid figures, pending employment contracts, and the fluctuating cost of special education placements and tuition students. Additionally, the teacher's retirement system rate has been estimated between 8.25% and 8.75%. That is a decrease from our current year of 9.59%. One of the other things which I don't have listed up here, I just want to mention, which it would be a known impact at this point, is we have received our health insurance rates for one of our plans for the 26-27 school year. And it is estimated at a composite rate of 8.7%. A composite rate is a combined rate between active employees and retirees that are Medicare primary. Active employees are 7.8%, and our Medicare primary retirees are 9.9%. So we have a composite rate of 8.7%. We do not make financial decisions in a vacuum. Every recommendation for the 2026-2027 is filtered through a consistent decision-making lens. Our priorities are clearly ranked. Students first. Ensuring student outcomes remain the top priority. Strategic alignment, matching spending to our SOAR goals. Equity and access, ensuring every student has what they need. Fiscal stewardship, managing resources sustainably for the long term. Compliance, meeting all legal and contractual obligations. And taxpayer responsibility, respecting the investment made by our community. So as far as our next steps, our immediate work involves clearing the fog by resolving as many of the unknowns as possible. We will continue to engage stakeholders, finalize personnel needs based on enrollment, and aggressively identify savings and revenue sources to bridge any gaps. All of this work leads to March 10th, when the superintendent will officially present the full 2026-2027 proposed budget. This slide outlines the road ahead. Following tonight's presentation, our next major session is Budget Presentation 2 on February 24th. We have scheduled 3 specific budget workshops to ensure deep community involvement. March 11th at RJB Library, April 27th at Woodlands Middle High School Innovation Lab, May 12th at RJB Library. We also have the budget hearing on May 5th, and then the process concludes on Tuesday, May 19th, with the annual meeting and budget vote from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Please remember, your voice matters. We encourage you to join us at any of these presentations and/or workshops to participate in the process. We also have our budget email on this slide, and we welcome any questions be emailed at any time. That concludes my presentation. I'm going to ask Dr. Chisholm to come back up.
Thank you, Ms. Merrill. I just want to share with the public, again, the budget email. It is budget, BUDGET, at greenburghcsd.org. And so I want to make sure that families in the community have that email address to send any questions, concerns, and again, invite the community out to any one of these workshops or presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions, trustees? Trustee Warner?
Sure. I've heard all kinds of conflicting things from the state. I heard that they were trying to increase the amount of aid that comes for our early childhood program, right? And that would mean, since we always end up with a waiting list, right, of kids who don't make it on because we ran out of funds, that we might be able to do more than before. And at the same time, I hear, oh, but we don't know if we have any money for the regular state aid. So I don't know. What have you heard?
So I will tell you that the proposed estimates that have come out for state aid for next school year are looking much better than they were for this school year. So currently, Greenburgh is slated, now again, this is proposed, so we won't have the final numbers until April, but right now we're sitting at about 4%. I believe it was between 500,000 and 600,000 in additional aid. As far as the UPK monies, the district is looking into ways that we would possibly be able to expand enrollment, correct, with the outside CBOs?
Yeah, so basically, we know that the state is looking to provide more money to districts across, to provide universal pre-K, specifically for those districts that don't currently offer universal pre-K, for 4-year-olds only. And so one of the things that we're waiting to do is to find out exactly how much Greenburgh would be receiving from the state aid regarding UPK, and then thinking about ways of how then can we use that monies to either augment or think about UPK placement for our students so that we don't have to have students on a wait list. Those
Great.
are just things that we're talking about or thinking about. There's nothing solidified with that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
All right, for the projected enrollment, do you have an estimate for 2026, 27 yet, or a little ballpark or something like that?
We do have estimated enrollment projections. I don't have them with me tonight, but we would be happy to provide that to you.
Okay. And then the unknown is transportation costs. Now, I thought we had a contract with that. Is it renewed annually? I can't remember. Is that why it's an unknown?
The reason why that would be an unknown, I think part of that was the placement for students who may not be within our district.
Okay.
So we have to consider those students who may be a private parochial or outside placement. So those things those are things that we have to consider, and those things may not be known at this time outside of the contracted services that we have for regular school day transportation.
I gotcha. And correct me if I'm wrong, for students that fall in that category, I think we asked to have that information by April, so sort of before the final budget is presented, right?
So, is it April 1st? April 1st
Yeah,
is what I'm
okay.
hearing, but we also need to make sure that those meetings take place so that those things and plans are solidified through the CSD process, and we have an idea of those placements for the upcoming year.
And last question, it's coming to you, Trustee Valen, hold on. All right, now, for those who would like to attend the budget workshops, do you guys have the details on what the first workshop would look like, second one, third one, and even the presentations, the details of how those are gonna roll out?
So my idea of the workshops is more of a forum, a town hall, similar to like a question and answer, interactive session. So in my mind, the only presentation that would be given would be data-driven with what had already been previously presented. And we would open it up and obviously have discussions about that. It's more to increase transparency and also help the community understand the budget process and the details in the budget, and then obviously to hear their voice, you know, what's important to them. It helps us in our process and planning.
Okay, so of this timeline, which event would the public be able to see line by line what we're spending, the sources of the income that's coming in, and things like that?
The very first one, because you'll notice, I believe the first budget workshop is on March 11th, which is the day after the superintendent's proposed budget. So all three, I think it's important to mention that all three of the workshops are after the budget has already been created and proposed to the board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to supplement Trustee Mann's. Some of those workshops are also in conjunction with the Finance Committee meeting, and traditionally, I will provide information that I'm getting through other sources as far as the advocacy efforts that are happening with the legislators and any legal updates as well. So that will also be included in addition to the information provided by administration. I'd also just like to say, I know, going back to transportation, I believe also because our contract is tied to the CPI, and that usually doesn't come until after the budget vote, that's part of why it's unknown. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well, is the student population part of the unknown. I'm forgetting my other question, but I did want to go back to the known of the CPI for the tax cap calculation that was up there on page whatever. I just want to point, I think it's important to point out that the maximum for the tax cap calculation is 2, but for the last multiple years, the consumer price index has actually been much higher than 2%. So I just think it's important to point out that our increases to the budget as capped by New York state law are much less than the price increases in the general environment. So I just...
That is correct, and I'll just mention that for 2026, the projected CPI, which is a measure of inflation, is 2.8%.
That's pretty low compared to recent years, but yay. Also, I know you said we don't know the enrollment projections tonight, but do we know the current number of students in pre-K?
I don't have that number with me tonight.
Okay, thank you.
You dropped your phone. So Trustee Manns asked a bunch of my questions about attendance at the budget presentations. I guess I am a little hopeful that we could put more opportunities. I can't find the page now. We could put more opportunities for the public to give some feedback, to see line-by-line budget before it's fully proposed. In the past, it was done that way, and I think some of the feedback was taken into the budget forming process. So it sounds like right now, there's only one date, which is February 24th. Is that accurate?
I am in the process of trying to schedule additional dates, one at the library and
Okay.
possibly one at the local residential areas.
And would that be before March 10th, though?
Yes, they would be.
And
They're not on the schedule because it's not confirmed.
Got it. And Trustee Val and your Finance Committee, do you have the dates for those yet? Those are work, so then after, in March? Yeah. Okay, so if someone, other than the February 24th right now, there's only one date, which is February 24th. The reason why I'm kind of harping on that is because I've gotten phone calls, emails with concerns about the taxes that people are paying and their inability to pay. Sometimes they don't have all the information, but I'm encouraging people to come out and to talk with you guys directly to see our budget process. And so I wanted to make sure to give them the correct date. And so these workshops are really more of presentations of the budget. It's not really them work. No one's getting to work on it.
It's a question and answer, open forum.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, great. Any more questions? No? Trustee Jacobson.
In an effort for transparency, will there be translation services available so that people, I know the one slide had information in English and Spanish, but information like this and information at those workshops and at those presentations, will there be abilities for non-English speakers to get that information?
Yes, we'll make sure that that's available.
Thank you.
And just like we were able to translate the State of the Schools address and place it on the website in Spanish and English, we'll make sure we do the same for the budget presentations too.
Lastly, and if you covered this, I apologize. Where exactly are you at right now in your budget process?
We have met with all of our building leaders. We are very close to having all of our staffing and insurances built into the budget. And at this point, we're going to continue to meet with administration to start making decisions more on a building level. And we're close to finalizing what the tax cap would be. Just waiting for one final piece of information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Did it get any warmer as well? Not yet.
Okay, we are back on. Hello? Testing. Makes me think I'm talking too loud. I'm going to whisper. We are back on the stage, and the next item on our agenda is D1, ex officio student report. That would be Miss Vanessa Franklin, who is here tonight to give us a report. Is your mic on? Is it green?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening. So we're going to start off with the students are getting back into a normal schedule from midterms and Regents Week and a wonderful snow day, so thank you. Over the weekend, there was a fencing tournament. The girls EPEE beat 2 out of 3 schools. The boys foil and girls foil did excellent, winning against all 3 schools, which was Clarkson Town, Arlington, Ardsley, and Edgemont. The boys basketball team had a game tonight, which they won 71-55, congratulations, against Greenburgh. The second marking period is coming to an end, which would be the last semester for the colleges receive. So this is the week of locking in and just getting everything done for the students. We're all trying to just make sure everything is turned in, make sure everything is graded. And then lastly, we have another college commit. Marissa McConnell did early action and committed to University of Colorado Boulder. So congratulations, Marissa.
Thank you, Vanessa. I'll just add, there were no board members at that fencing tournament because we had a very long retreat on Saturday, but some board members wanted to skip the retreat and go to the fencing tournament. So I'm sorry we had to miss it. Thank you for the update. Next, are there any questions, comments on our student ex officios report? No? Okay. Next on our agenda is item D2, Board President's Report, and that's for me. I just wanted to say welcome back to everyone. It's now the end of January. Hopefully you survived our big snowstorm that happened a couple of days ago. We are looking at another one in a few days, so hopefully you are shoveled and dug out so that you don't have double work after this weekend coming up. I want to encourage everyone to get involved. We have committees that you can get involved with. We have YouTube videos with not all of our committees, but most of our committees, all of our board meetings. Please watch those. If you have questions, you can definitely email the board. You can email your superintendent. If you're a parent, your building principal is always a good resource, but please get involved. We do hear from staff, from community members, as I said during the budget report just now, about their taxes and about the high taxes, and I totally understand. That's why I want everyone to come out, and so that they can see for themselves where your tax money for the school specifically is spent and how it's spent. And you can have a voice if you come in February 24th, I believe was the date. You can have a voice before the final budget is set and presented to the Board of Education for adoption. Okay. Next item on our agenda is D3, Superintendent of Schools Report, and that is Dr. Lorinda Chisholm.
Thank you, President Mayers. I just wanted to thank everyone, the community, both the school community and the external community, for attending the inaugural State of the Schools address held on January 14th. I want to congratulate Breanne Phillips. It was just shared on the website, but she was the honoree of the Spirit of Love Award through the MLK Legacy Award, sponsored by the African American Men of Westchester. That took place on Martin Luther King Day, that Monday, so that was a very lovely event, and congratulations to her. She is a senior who said that she will be attending North Carolina A&T in the fall, so kudos. I want to thank the entire community for their patience and understanding during the snow day, and even with our delayed start this morning. I just want to just let the community know that, you know, we always do our very best to make the right decision in the best interest of all and everyone's safety and well-being. So while I do not make those decisions lightly, just know I'm doing it in the best interest of everyone. And then finally, I want to thank our facilities and transportation departments for ensuring our students arrived safely and that our buildings were ready to receive our staff and students this morning. So thank you to both the Director of Facilities and Transportation. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Chisholm. Is any questions or comments about Dr. Chisholm's report? I did want to give you an opportunity, Dr. Chisholm, to talk about, you said you don't make those decisions lightly. You don't make them in a silo either. That's right. It sounds like you're in communication with other people in the county, I guess. I don't know if you want to share some of that, just because I don't know if people think you make decisions in a silo.
No, I don't. I always want to consult with, I consult with the town, I consult with our Director of Facilities, as well as our transportation folks. They're the boots on the ground, and they're the ones that are here, and they were here over the weekend too, out of their own homes, to assess our grounds as well as our buildings, making sure that no classrooms were cold this morning, all of those things. I also consult with the remaining superintendents throughout the Lower Hudson. We're all in a group chat together, and we're all trying to make those decisions together, keeping in mind that our staff are shared between our various communities and making sure that they're able to get here. I know it's kind of hard as a building principal to try to coordinate instruction when you don't have the staff, and so that went into part of the decision-making this morning too, but also getting in touch with the town to see how our sidewalks and our bus stops, if they've been cleared and cleared adequately, because we do have students who walk, and we do have staff who catch the bus. And so we want to make sure that they're safe while they're walking or standing there waiting for a bus for public transportation. So all of those things are factored in and carefully considered when either calling a snow day or having to ask for a 2-hour delay.
Thank you. And next on any questions, comments? No? Next on our agenda are D4, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum. That's you, Dr. Njoku.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. So a couple of updates, just 3. So ECP, all eligible children, so this has to do with the early childhood program. Our UPK lottery has been completed, and all those who apply, they should be receiving communication around placement. Once again, there is a limit, and any student, I believe we have 62 seats for UPK. There's 3 programs. So I'm preparing myself for the questions. There are 3 programs. We have the UPK program, Special Education program, and Head Start program. So we're speaking only about the UPK program. We have 62 seats, but over 62 applicants. So all those who applied on time and met the deadline will be shared their placement. Those who are placed on the waiting list, they will be considered depending on what happens, because sometimes a student might actually be eligible for Head Start, which allows for a seat to open, or parents might make another decision, and it happens. And that happened last year as well, where we ended up having all of our students placed. But if there's any questions, please reach out to the ECP team. They are very supportive, understanding, and they will explain whatever it is a question that a parent might have. As we stated earlier, February 4th is World Read Aloud Day, and I'm actually very excited about this because there's a little surprise with Dr. Chisholm and I that people should hopefully look forward to. But just the overwhelming support for this. It's a global event, and this year the theme was Celebrate Learning. This is a time where we highlight knowledge and curiosity, but when I speak about overwhelming, I'm looking here at my numbers, and we have 80 registered volunteers. 80. That's 80. That will be coming to each of our elementary schools, and we also have some of our middle high school students coming over to read to our young people. And what a picture that will be. But including, not just that, we also have the police department, fire department, Greenburgh Public Library librarians coming in. Ms. DeAndrea helps to coordinate this fantastic event. It's just amazing. We've also added virtual authors, so all of the library media specialists have scheduled time to have authors of books time with them. There's activity folders where students can share the younger ones, share their thinking, recall their thinking, and potentially be crowned for the day. So you'll see that. And I'm just excited. So February 4th, World Read Aloud Day. We're celebrating learning. And then I guess if you like data, the next item is around assessments. Just sharing that we did have our regions. We had around 134 students who completed across the various, sciences, across the various subjects, the January regions, and we're analyzing the data at this time. All right, so that concludes.
Thank you, Dr. Njoku. Any questions, comments? Trustee Warner.
Sure. ECP, how many people were on the waiting list?
Right now, what I saw was, I'll have to double check that for you, but it wasn't tremendous. It was under 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
And some individuals have the opportunity to enroll in our CBOs, our community-based organization. Mm-hmm.
Any other, yes, Vanessa? Ms. Franklin?
Hello. Yes. I was wondering if there are any more spots for the middle and high school students, in case anyone was wondering.
Do you know what? I will look into that because at this point, because it's next week, we want to have everything finalized and people placed, but I can double check if there's room available. The best bet right now is to communicate with Dr. Foy. Okay.
Okay, Trustee Jacobson?
No problem.
Just two things. For World Read Aloud Day, if I remember correctly, there was an emphasis on nonfiction.
Yes.
This year, and I was curious, is that part of the national thing, or is that a Greenburgh thing?
I feel that, I believe it's a Greenburgh, but I will double check on that. I just, I never even thought to ask the question. I just thought that it was a great idea to focus on nonfiction, to get all of these individuals just in a place where real factual things and they get to experience that. So I can double check that. But either way, it's a and we know that sometimes it doesn't seem as exciting, but this is an opportunity to make it so.
I appreciate that. And my other question is if there was some thought process around, or what the thought process was around having midterms and iReady assessments during the same time. And Regents, it felt like that was just a lot of testing all at once, and I was curious what some of the thoughts were there.
The thinking was it's different groups of students, and as long as proctoring was able to be done, it wouldn't, and that's a conversation we have with the building to see, is this something that's reasonable? We always, will have communication afterwards to assess, is this something we want to continue next year? Is there enough, because we can always improve, right? So we haven't yet. First, I want to look at the data first, and then we'll be having our conversations with the building.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions, comments?
Me?
Yes, trustee Mann?
All right. Yep, just going back to World Read Aloud Day. The
Yes.
deadline to sign up or register, has that passed or no?
I believe it has passed, yes.
Okay, because I did get a text message about registering today. Just want to throw that out there.
Okay, okay.
Like you're still looking for volunteers, but it sounds like you're covered, right?
I wouldn't say that yet. So
Okay.
according to what I have, we were ending it soon because we have to prepare and plan for next week.
Right.
But if there was a message sent out today, we won't go against what that message says.
Okay.
So if the message went out, then there's time to register.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you do. Okay. And now, how does that work? If someone wanted to volunteer, will the books be provided? Should they bring their own book that they want to share with the children?
Books will be provided
Okay.
there. And that sometimes is the best bet so that you have something that's appropriate age and you don't have to guess.
Okay. All right.
And they usually have it laid out, so come on time because so you can have your selection.
All right, thank you. And I do agree with Trustee Jacobson about testing, all that testing. I actually asked about that in our last meeting when we were in the Freelo Center, why everything was like that same week for all of the students. So I will be transparent. My children were not happy about it, and they did express their concerns about that. So are you going to also check in with the students to see how they felt about having all of those tests within that time frame around the same time?
I think of course, communicating with the students. I just want to make a point that although we communicate, it's who are the students that we're communicating with, because then that comes. But I think the first step is let me see how it transpired during that time. Is there a way, like what happened? What are the rumblings, the positives, the negatives, and then we make a decision around that. Because we also need to consider the time, there's different considerations.
Any other questions, comments? I just want to jump on board and agree with Trustee Jacobson and Trustee Manns about the testing. So I know that it's not something that you specifically did on purpose or anything like that, and you have to talk to the building leader about it and how to plan for next year, but I'm hoping that you guys can have some wiggle. I don't know if the state tells you when you have to do the tests, or if you can have some wiggle room with moving around.
In terms of Regents assessments, no.
Okay.
But in terms of midterms and iReady, yes, because those are locally developed assessments. We just need to coordinate around to ensure that the proper proctoring is in place, and so, yeah.
Okay. And then I wanted to ask you, Dr. Njoku, about MBK. You didn't report on that today.
No.
But I was wondering what's happening with our MBK program, if anything at all. And I know there's a trip coming up for the kids to take. That's on the agenda. So can you tell us about that?
We have a very invested group of people at Woodlands Middle High School who are supporting the thinking through what MBK will be. We have had conversation at the district level around what is our vision for MBK and supporting it. And there has been conversation with community members around how they can support with no compensation. So there are meetings coming up with me and some community members around that. But going back to the four individuals, so very supportive. They are the facilitators that were board approved to work on an action plan, because as you know, it's not just the MBK funding. We're still waiting to hear around that in terms of the RFP going out from New York State, but we are an Obama community, MBK community. So beyond, we are nationally associated with MBK. So we have a lot of, what do you call it? A lot of people invested. So, and the Washington trip. I was trying to remember what your second question was. I'm sorry. The Washington trip was one idea that came out of the initial conversations with the facilitators around. There was so much positive feedback from the summer work, and keeping that momentum going and understanding that MBK is still alive, because we want to keep to those pillars. And from that came a generation of many ideas in terms of bringing the young people together. And this was one of them. And then an outgrowth of that was supporting Black History Month during February. So we were able to combine the two.
Okay, great, thank you. The reason why I was asking too is, my son did the MBK in the summer, and it was amazing, I thought. We have a lot of programs around supporting young girls, and I don't see as many in supporting young boys. And I know there used to be the EBC, which is Excellence for Black Children, several years ago. David's nodding. I don't know if you remember that. Subset of parents that had to put something together because there was actually data that was taken in the district of young boys of color not learning as fast and not doing as well in school. I'd love to kind of relook at that because just some anecdotal students that I know of having a young boy of color myself, I do have some concerns. So I'm happy to see that the MBK program, which supports young boys, I guess 6th grade at some point and up through into the middle high school, is is something very good that I'm looking forward to learning more about and watching grow.
Right.
We don't have many male teachers. We have even fewer male teachers of color in the district. I don't know if we have any on the elementary level. And so I do have some concern for what our children see in themselves growing up through the district. And so I'm looking forward to this trip to DC and seeing how the middle high school students or high school students like that trip. And I'll be looking for feedback for that. Do you know how many students are going? And I'm sorry, because I didn't tell you ahead of time.
No, that's fine.
But this
It's
is
roughly around
questions.
88 to 90 students,
90,
I
okay,
believe.
yes, okay,
Yeah.
great.
And what I'm speaking right now is MBK as a whole, not what we also currently have, which is MBK Fellows. So MBK Fellows is alive and well. We have our 2 fellows.
There's 2 though, yeah.
There are 2 fellows. They've participated in many of the events. There are several convenings that we are preparing for. So that is still happening at the same time.
Wonderful, thank you. Trustee Mann's had her hand up.
Yeah, I did. For the MBK trip, will there be some type of project or something for the kids to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Synthesize and
There we
think
go.
deeply about, right.
Yeah.
That is an expectation, but it's even more, the team has already done quite a bit in terms of even the entry into. So a Google form was created. They took a lot of time. They were not playing around with this trip. This wasn't going to be like, let's just go out and go on a trip. It was open to everyone. So there's certain allotment for MBK students, but that the remaining are open to any student to get this experience. And a Google form was sent out where they asked students questions. There would be an essay, a prompt that they had to respond to, and interviews. So it's very purposeful in why you're going, and they have they're preparing to curate the time there. Not a problem.
Any other questions, comments? And with our kids, it's on the agenda, the MBK trip. Let me see the number that it is. You gotta forgive me because I don't have my computer today.
So it's an MBK and high school trip. So
thank you. Oh, it's MBK and high school.
Right, because it's MBK plus open to others.
And it's paid through the general fund. Okay, so there's not going to be any cost to the student at all directly?
There may be, there might be some cost to students. I believe it should be, they estimated under $20.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments? We'll move on. Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Dr. Njoku. Next item on the agenda is our Assistant Superintendent for Business, Ms. Merrill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to report on the November 2025 Treasurer's Report. The general fund beginning balance for November 2025 was $41,444,418.29. The district received a total of $3,639,970.17 in receipts issued, $3,581,117.83 in payroll checks, $3,378,157.69 in accounts payable disbursements, and $207,480.59 in due from other funds. The ending balance for the general fund was $37,917,632.35, as detailed above. For the month of November 2025, the district issued 949 payroll checks and 235 accounts payable disbursements. The claims auditor audited all disbursements. That concludes the November 2025 Treasurer's Report. The only other thing that I wanted to mention is I've been reflecting since the budget presentation, and I know it hasn't been long, but I do agree. I think that there should be more, at least one or two more presentations prior to the March 10th adoption. So starting tomorrow, I will look to work with administration and possibly schedule those dates.
Trustee Valen?
I want to be, I just need to be clear on the timeline that you presented for, to the public. And we are receiving on March 10th the superintendent's proposed budget, but the budget isn't actually formally adopted by the board until the April 21st board meeting. So I just want to be clear, because I think it's been said a couple times up here on the dais. So while
That
we're
is true.
receiving the presentation of the superintendent's proposal, between then and late April, when we're adopting the budget, there is time for discussion and changes. And then once the budget is adopted by the board on April 21st, until the budget hearing on
May 5th.
May 5th, the bottom line will have been nailed down, but movements within the budget can still be discussed. So I just want to be clear, because we're talking about public involvement, I want to be clear on the words we're
So it's
using and
April
what actually
21st.
happens.
Okay, thank you. So
Any-
April 21st. So the first workshop and February 24th, and you also have March 24th board meeting in order for the public to speak.
Right, February 24th is not a workshop, it's a budget presentation. And then March 10th is when it's another presentation, the proposed budget to the board.
Yeah.
We have a workshop on March 11th, and the third budget presentation to the board is on March 24th.
Okay.
The budget hearing is May 5th.
Okay, great. Did you have any other comments? Okay.
Things can change after.
Yeah.
But we
Thank you,
want
that
to
concludes my
have it before
presentation.
the
or
Superintendent
report.
presents it. Okay, thank you, Ms. Merrill. Any other questions, comments? No? Next item on our agenda is board discussion, but before we ask if anyone has a discussion item, I do want to allow Dr. Chisholm to talk about responses to public comments at previous board meetings.
Yes, thank you. So I want to make sure that I respond to the public questions that were posed at the December 16th board meeting. And the first question that was received was, has the district assessed the occupancy rate at the buildings to condense or collapse classrooms? And the answer to that is that the district does not make class size decisions based on an occupancy rate. The district does, however, regularly review enrollment trends and building and room utilization, and enrollment figures and class sizes within the negotiated contractual parameters are what we analyze as part of our budgeting and staffing process, to even thinking about or looking at condensing, collapsing, or adding classrooms. This ongoing review helps us to inform decisions related to staffing levels and the reallocation of resources when necessary. The second question was, did we consider vouchers to send students to private schools? Why or why not? And the answer to that is no. The district did not consider the use of vouchers to send students to private schools. Voucher programs, if people know about them, they do not, for me, align with the support the mission of public education, as they divert public funds away from public schools and do not provide the same level of accountability, equity, or access required of public school districts.
Our focus remains on strengthening our programs that we currently have and the services within our public school district to best serve all of our students. And then the third question was around, was a corrective action plan for the Office of the State Comptroller necessary? If so, what was the action plan? And so the answer to that is yes, it was necessary. When a recommendation for improvement is made by the OSC or the Office of State Comptroller, we are required to submit a plan, improvement plan, within 90 days. And the audit was a procurement audit from 23-24. The corrective action plan was attached to the December 16th, 2025 board agenda, but it can also be found on the business office's webpage on the district website for transparency. So those are the responses to those three questions. Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments? Hearing none, are there any topics for board discussion? Trustee Warner.
Sure. We had, I gave a report on the Facilities Committee at our last meeting, and one of the recommendations had to do with the tennis courts. And it was required, there had been a recommendation at the committee meeting by the administration, and then it got backpedaled at the meeting, saying that you needed to consult with the superintendent first. So have you consulted with the superintendent? And if so, do you have any idea when the recommendation will be forthcoming?
Yes, we're in discussions right now with the superintendent and administration. I don't have an estimated date. I would hope that it would be in the near future.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there any other topic for discussion? Hearing none, let's move on to our regular meeting approvals. First, we have personnel instructional items. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we have personnel non-instructional items.
I move that we approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Is there any board action item motion?
I move that we approve the board action items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? I have discussion. I did have a question again about I-7, which is the field trip to Washington, D.C. It says that the cost is going to be paid through the general fund, but I did hear you say it's a joint trip between MBK and the high school. So what does that mean exactly?
These are the transportation costs. So partially, it has been funded through, funds have been identified in the general funds to pay for part of it. But ultimately, it comes from the general funds.
So partially, it's going to be funded through the general fund. And then what is the rest of the way it's going to be funded?
From my understanding, what they are going to do is utilize the current lines for transportation at the Woodlands Middle High School and then replenish it based on what they receive from that 20 or less amount that I stated.
Okay. So partially funded through the general funds and then partially funded through the lines for transportation through the Woodlands Middle High School.
But it is all in the general fund. So there's part that's coming specifically, so
from the high
it's being
school,
subsidized. So it's not fully coming from students.
Right.
To reduce the amount.
Okay. Did you have a question?
I think I get it. So basically, there's a line item in the general fund for the high school, and it's coming from there. It will be offset with costs coming in from the students, the $20.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, can I get a finance item?
I move that we approve the finance items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we have business items.
I move that we approve the business items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Last, we have pupil personnel services items.
I move that we approve the pupil personnel services items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Lastly, we have closing items. Item M1, new business. Is there any new business? Hearing none, we will move on to an adjourn. Did you have new business? I'm sorry. Sure, Trustee Valen. We can, yeah.
But no, I have nothing.
Wonderful. I mean, no, okay, great. Next, we have adjournment. Is there a motion for adjournment, please?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. 9:55 PM. Good night.
Good night.